Okay, hello everybody and welcome to the introduction to ArcMap video tutorial. This video tutorial goes with a workbook which is also downloadable from Blackboard, which just tries to introduce some of the basic tools for when using the ArcMap program. Now, in order to complete this exercise, I'm going to be using a GIS dataset which is part of the Lab 1 data and which we shall be using in the computer labs in week 4. The first thing we need to do is add data to the GIS, and we do that by clicking this button up here, which is the Add Data button. We then go to where we've downloaded our GIS data, and I'm going to click the Ireland Counties shapefile. As I mentioned in the previous video tutorial, this process can take some time. Every time we use ArcGIS remotely, we're sending large amounts of data backwards and forwards across a network. And depending on how busy that network is and how fast your internet connection is, it can take some time. So we've loaded up a GIS file showing the counties of Ireland. Now, the main tools we're going to be using today is this set here, which are just called standard tools. And this involves just a way of navigating around the data. So first of all, I'm going to introduce you to some of the zoom tools which affect the way we look at the data. We can either drag and drop to zoom into a certain area, or we can just click and this will bring it in by a fairly specific amount each time. Similarly, for zooming out, the same applies. If we want to zoom in and out by a very set controlled amount, we can just use these buttons here and they'll zoom in and out a little bit each time. If we want to go back to the maximum extent, so the maximum size of the file which we have, we can click this little one here and it will center us again at the maximum extent of our data. This little hand here is the pan tool, which enables us just to move whatever items we have in the window around very easily. If we want to zoom backwards, so zoom back to the previous extent before we moved, we click this button here and it will do that for us. Similarly, if we want to go forward, we can do that quite easily, but let's go back to the maximum extent. Now, when it comes to selecting data and clicking on individual types of data, we're given a number of tools. The most simple one is just the Identify tool, and the Identify tool can very quickly tell us what attributes a particular shape has. So if we click up here, we can see that this is County Cavan and all the attribute data which comes with that. Or over here, we can see Mayo, up in Donegal, similarly again, or down in Cork. The slightly more complex way of selecting data, if we want to highlight data, is to use this tool here, and this is the Select Features tool. Now, if we click on this, it doesn't just identify the features. What it does is it highlights the features in the attribute table. The attribute table is the thing which we'll be introducing also in the first lab. So if we scroll down here, we can see that we have highlighted County Galway. Similarly in here, if we wanted to highlight a number of counties, we can do that quite easily in that file. Now, there's also a lot of links in ArcInfo to other programs, ArcCatalog here, which we've already briefly looked at, and the ArcToolbox. ArcToolbox is where most of the analytical tools are held. Similarly, we can open a new ArcGIS file up here, we can open an old saved ArcGIS file, we can save and we can print, and all these buttons up here also give us different opportunities. ArcGIS and ArcMap operates in two primary views, one of which is the data view we're in now, and the second which is what's called a layout view. And the layout view is the view which we go into when we want to make a map, and again we'll look at this in more detail in Lab 1. We can switch between the data view and the layout view either by using these buttons down here or in View, Data and Layout. Okay, that's all for this video tutorial. We'll look at a lot of these tools in some more detail when we're doing Lab 1.